What's up, everybody? This is Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com coming to you from Bud Walton Arena, the basketball palace of Mid-America. Arkansas just winning 78-67 over TCU. The Horned Frogs coming to Fayetteville for a little Big 12 SEC challenge. So a good showing for Arkansas, especially when you consider Isaiah Joe was out, resting his knee. So they'll hopefully get him back. But Arkansas played pretty well, and especially when you consider you knew that they were going to focus on Mason Jones a lot. So you had to have Desi and Jimmy Witt really step up for you, along with some other players. I mean, Jalen Harris played a good game, had I think 6 assists, 5 points, knocked down a 3. So there were a lot of positives, and it almost felt like they were just going to kind of let Kevin Samuel do what he does and just kind of focus on everybody else, because the guy ended with, what did he end up with, like just a ton of points. 18 rebounds, I think like 24 points or something. So pretty good player. I remember when Arkansas was recruiting him. So you knew you had to have Desi. You knew you had to have Jimmy Witt. You only had 1 point from Mason Jones in the first half. They were actually down when Mason Jones exited the game. He had 2 early fouls. So they went down. They were down at that point, and then they came back and took a lead with him out. Which, I mean, it almost feels like just kind of plug and play. You just got, you know, you're going to run the system and play to your strengths, and that's what happened, really. Jimmy Witt had 12 in the first half. Desi Sills had 11, so you got exactly what you needed out of those guys. Arkansas led 33-29 at the half, a really weird end to the first half. 2 balls getting thrown out of bounds. Jamie Dixon was going nuts. I think they said Samuel might have been getting held down there. And Dixon said, you know, he got teed up. All he said was something like, "That's not a carry" or something, and they teed him up. So they must have thought he said something else or something. But, you know, Arkansas, first half, 50% from the field compared to 45%, 46% for TCU. Only down 16-14 in the rebound department, had a 12-9 advantage in turnovers. And that is the recipe for Arkansas. Keep the rebounding close, win the turnover battle, obviously shoot well, that helps. And they did all those things. So Samuel had 16 and 8 in the first half alone, ended up with 24 and 18. That was really impressive. The turning point, I thought, of the game came at about 9:16 mark, and Arkansas was up 6, I believe, and there was like a 2-minute run, 1 minute and 53 seconds. Is that right? Minute? It might have been less than that. At Arkansas, went on a 9-0 run and went up 15 points, and that was pretty much ball game when that happened. It felt like in the second half, because Mason Jones only played 9 minutes in the first because of foul trouble and only had 1 point. So maybe they just forgot that they're supposed to really D up on him, because he ended up with 20 points, 19 of those in the second half. So a really good night for him. What else? Jimmy ended up with 20. Desi ended up with 18. Mason ended up with 20. So you almost had 3 guys with 20 points with Mason out of there. Jimmy ended up playing all 40 minutes of the game. I'd like to go a little bit different route for basketball. Sure is a nice night in Fayetteville. Good night for the recruits. Most of the recruits stayed throughout the game. It was a great crowd, I thought. Probably, you know, it's a sellout, 19,200, which I'm not sure that seating capacity is accurate. How is that seating capacity accurate? Because it was built in, 93, I think, when they started playing there, the national championship year, 93, 94. And so it was built then. It was 19,200 seats then. They've moved press row back behind the basket, moved it again up into the stands, added the Gucci row, added another Gucci row. So somebody's got to go around and count the seats. Let's find out exactly how many seats are in that arena. It's kind of weird that we just kind of go with 19-2. So I'm surprised somebody hadn't gone around and just started counting. So Arkansas was in the double bonus the last 6 minutes and 15 seconds, which helps. They ended up 18 of 25 from the free throw line, only 72%, but shot more free throws, made more free throws. Shot 54% from the field, obviously. Shot 50 in the first half, so that percentage went way up in the second half. Only took 9 three-pointers, possibly because Mason Jones was out so much in the first half, and then you didn't have Isaiah Joe also. So there was a real emphasis on getting to the basket in this game, and I think you saw that. Won the turnover battle 19-12. 34-26 rebounding, so they were -8 in the rebound department, which is acceptable. I mean, if you do all those other things right, you're just going to do that. I mean, Samuel was just, it looked like at the beginning, it was like, wow. You talk about not having an answer for somebody, and they didn't have one for Reggie Perry, but Samuel, he's just doing whatever he wanted to do. It took forever for him to even miss a shot. So, 78-67 final. Arkansas is 15-4 now. Don't get a conference win, so they're still 3-3. I think TCU is 4-2 in conference. I can't remember what their overall record is, but they had a winning record. So Arkansas plays South Carolina next, who's 10-8, 2-3 in the SEC. They play tonight against Vanderbilt, and that game is Wednesday at 7:30 SEC Network. Wednesday, 7:30, South Carolina in Bud Walton Arena. So they'll return home for that one. Should be a good crowd for that one. I would say for this game, it was a sellout, 19,200. It was a sellout, but if I had to guess, it would probably say maybe like 18,400 were in the arena. Less than 1,000 empty seats. There was a corner up in the upper deck that was, didn't have any seats, didn't have anybody filling those seats. And there were a couple of spots here and there, so it was a great crowd. It wasn't a Kentucky crowd, but it was a great crowd. What else is going on? I'm almost to my car. I'm trying to think of what else is going on. We released the salary information for Jamil Walker. That was kind of the last piece of the puzzle in terms of knowing salaries. $300,000 a year. Arkansas's head strength and conditioning coach with a lot of incentives for doing well, which you should get. And that's pretty much it. A lot of recruits in town. I would say go to HawgSports.com Sunday morning if you want to read up on all the recruit stuff. Brandon Frazier, the tight end, has visited and has already left. I don't know if I love that. I can remember when I was so he got here at 11 or 1:45 in the morning, Saturday morning technically, and then left. Friday morning, excuse me, and then left today before the game. I just know when I was coming up, when I was in school, and the reason is, he's been up here several times, obviously. He just kind of wanted to get a better feel for the coaches, get around the players again. But I just feel like if it's me, and I could be way wrong on this. I've been wrong on recruits, where I've said, well, this doesn't sound, like a good situation. But for me, when I was coming up to college, I got up here to Fayetteville as many times as I could when I was in high school, and I stayed as long as I could. It wasn't like, well, I've already been here. I'm going to just meet with the coaches and go home. This is where you're going to want to spend the next 4 or 5 years of your life. I could be reading that wrong. But Arkansas does absolutely need tight ends in this class, and he would be a nice get. Get him and Alan Horace, and I think you feel really good about where you are. Obviously, Malik Henry, that would be a nice get. C.J. Dixon at quarterback. They need to get one of those guys. You got to have another prep quarterback, I think, in this class. Although the way things are going with grad transfers, you can almost find a guy every year if you need to. And they've already got Felipe Franks, but you really want to develop somebody who's going to be in the system, be with you for a long term. And we got to find out a little bit on Felipe Franks, see if he's going to get a medical hardship. He could possibly get a medical hardship. I need to look into that because he was injured. He's already redshirted, and used to be the rule was if you redshirted for any other reason, that wasn't beyond your control, like an injury, then you weren't eligible for a medical redshirt. But about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, they changed that rule. So it's a lot easier to get a 6 year of eligibility now with an injury. So maybe that's something that maybe Franks would have 2 years. Who knows? Something to look at. He only played in 3 games last season. So something to look at there. A lot of other nice visitors up this weekend. Not as big of a weekend I think there was 13 last weekend and just 7 this weekend. A couple of them are already committed to Arkansas. So, we could hear some stuff tomorrow. Maybe you pull a guy here or there. I know that Brandon Frazier's not going to wait until National Signing Day to make an announcement. He'll make one pretty quick. And I think Danny and I both have crystal balls right now into Auburn. So we'll see how that shakes out. Arkansas basketball, next game's Wednesday. South Carolina, 7:30. A little bit of a late game for a Wednesday. It's not going to be a sellout crowd for that one, but they should have pretty good attendance. And I can't really think of what else to talk about. I could say this, sign up for HawgSports for $1 right now, $1 for your first month. If you like the content that we do on Drive Time, you like the walk and talk, you like HawgSports Live, all that stuff that we do for free, and we do a lot of free content as well. If you like that stuff, then sign up for $1 right now at HawgSports.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. You will be glad you did. It's a great opportunity to sign up. It's like 3 cents a day. 3 cents a day. So anybody who's ever wondered, like, well, what am I getting here that I can't get anywhere else? Find out for 3 cents a day. We have people say that all the time, and when they sign up, they realize, wow, I didn't know I was getting this. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate everybody for joining me for the basketball walk and talk. And yeah, I think that's it. I think we covered it. All right, everybody. Talk to you next time.